gotta leave it to the professionals.
Last by Gandhi, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like the Brown James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Refuse not falling for the FOMO. Listening to coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum NFTs. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
board.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
Freaking the more to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in shoes. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. Had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the drive with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain GM. Thanks so much for joining us. If you haven't done so, do us a favor, drop us a GM in the chat down below. Then head up top, smash that like, repost, and bookmark on today's space. We greatly appreciate it. It does warm up the algo and does us a real solid. You'll also find pinned up top the link to the abstract chat. We're live on my abstract today, as well as YouTube is popping off as always. Never any financial advice in the show. I'm Captain Bako, Steve. We are not financial advisors, certainly not your financial advisors. Don't join us for that. Just join us for some fun, some information, and a little bit of education along the way. GM Steve, how you doing, sir?
GM, doing well.
Still can't get over this new audio. You are crystal clear.
It's awesome.
Roadcaster for the win.
Yeah, the Roadcaster's awesome. Enjoyed that. Was glad that I finally got that set up and going. GM to all our friends out there in the chat, Von Front and Machiavelli, RDL, Green Edge. We're going to hit us with some GMs in the chat. Hit us with a like, a retweet, and a comment on the room, because at least one of you is going to get the chance to play a little Death.fun today over on Abstract. We got a new sponsor. We'll have an announcement about that later today. I have a fun new graphic I created for that one. I was pretty happy with my graphic. I'll show you that one in a second here. But, we'll share it with you all early. We're going to do the first drawing today. And then you're going to have the chance to win $1,000 just by playing Death.fun. So we'll talk about what that looks like in a little bit here. Pretty happy with that. But the overall, nice weekend. Celebrated losing my 10-pound milestone probably a little too hard. Probably gained about 5 of it back. So we are back on the grind today. Stay
on the grind. You gotta add some pounds on cheat day so you stay on the grind the following week, right?
Well, cheat day turned into cheat day and a half, which turned to cheat 2 days, which turned to cheat 2.5 days. So kind of defeats the purpose. But you know what? Honestly, my goal, and I mean this sincerely, is losing weight over time and having better habits, not necessarily like, oh my God, I need to like lock in and go hardcore. Because it's not like I'm going, like 8 Fest is a nice milestone to be like, hey, I should lose 10 pounds before this because I should. But it's not like I'm going to 8 Fest to like troll for chicks, right? It's like I'm married, I have 2 kids, I'm very happy right now, but it gives me a reason to be healthier and make some differences. So celebrate it this weekend. It actually started off my son, who had an amazing soccer game on Thursday, as I mentioned, on Friday, hit a little bit of a rough day. And I was like, look, I was in my gym clothes ready to go run like several miles. Dawn was ready to go to the gym in her gym clothes. We could tell he went through a rough day. So we said, fuck it. We're going bowling. We're going to an arcade. We're going to do it as a family. We had a couple cocktails. We had some good food. And it spilled over into Buckeye Saturday, and that's fine. And then Sunday took it pretty chill until Sunday night, where we got Big Brother season finale last night. I won't do any spoilers, but it was, pretty good one. Not my favorite season of the show, but turned into a little bit of a weekend where family did some stuff and maybe a little bit less responsible. But yeah, give us a like, a retweet, a comment on the room. Let us know whether you're in the YouTube chat, whether you're in the abstract chat, whether you're in the spaces chat. If you want to be the person who we're going to play for you, is the way we're probably going to do this. But if you're in the active chat, we'll actually be able to potentially interact with you and tell you can tell us whether you want us to go higher or lower. So we'll explain how that works once that comes up. But fun sponsor, another one of those situations where we did take less of a sponsorship on our end in order to bring money to you. So appreciate everyone's participation in this space. But Cap, how was your weekend?
Awesome. Had a great weekend. I impromptu went to Bucks game. I guess I'm just going to call her my girlfriend. I don't know. I'm not going to dox her name yet. I think I might have slipped that in the war room, but we've been looking at tickets, want to do a game. She's a big football fan, like a genuine football fan. Like at first I thought she was just saying it to like win some brownie points. And like she's actually she's from Jacksonville. So she's a Jags fan. We've been talking about going to a Bucks game. We talked about maybe going back to Jacksonville for the KC Monday night game next week. The club seats were like $1,000 and each. And so we were looking at the Philadelphia Eagles Bucks game yesterday, which 2 undefeated teams. Eagles fans travel extremely well. And those tickets ended up, and it was like over 90, felt like 100. So like, and I think I've shared with you previously, she follows your bougie tendencies. And so like we're going to the game, like it's club seats or bus, like we had to have access to the AC. And so those tickets were running up to nearly $1,000. Well, long story short, I being the NFT trader and like making offers that I am, just waited till I think it was either late Saturday night or early Sunday, must have been late Saturday night. And someone capitulated and listed one, no joke, less than half price, listed to pair, less than half price of what the average ticket, like on StubHub, it tells you like, oh, these average tickets or these tickets on average are going for X. So got a good deal on some club seats and decided to go to the game yesterday. Had a great time. The game opened up. It looked like wasn't going to be a good one. If you missed it, we'll get out of the football talk here as soon as we get out of cold open. But Eagles blocked a punt early, ran it back for a touchdown, put up 7-0, like right from the jump. It just changed the whole script of the game.
Baker almost went Baker mode though. Baker almost went Baker mode. It was a good game.
Yeah. I mean, it was very entertaining. It was a good game. They got down like 24-6, I want to say at one point. And then, got back into it. We had a long touchdown from Bucky Irving. We had a long touchdown from our guy, Ibuka. That was like right in the end zone we were sitting. So fun game, very entertaining. Unfortunately, the Bucks weren't able to pull it off. Baker, for as cold as he is under pressure, he threw an interception late in the game that was pretty bad pick. That had he not done that, who knows? But nevertheless, fun time. And came home afterward, dropped her off, came home, took care of Duke, went back over there last night. And I come walk in and she's like already watching Sunday Night Football. So again, true football fan, enjoying that time. And I didn't even missed a little bit on the market this weekend. I wasn't eligible for a Hypurr NFT anyway, so I didn't miss that cook. The one thing I haven't done that I talked about on Friday, I didn't do. It's not that complex. probably shame on me for wanting to do more research. I should have just probably aped right from the jump. But I am really bullish on this punk strategy and that ecosystem. And as I shared previously, like, could the whole thing go belly up? Yes. But what gets me most excited is the thought of it's taking out NFTs out of supply that, for the most part, people aren't collecting. They're the ones that just continue to get recycled at floor. And so if we do get a nice NFT season, I think it could be set up well. If a lot of those, like I saw Toads, there was like 80. The fund held 80 cryptodes after like the first half hour. Like, really excited for Good Vibes Club this week. I don't even know what day it goes live, but while punks are one thing, apes and pudgies are another thing. These ones that have a floor price of less than 1 ETH, like, dude, it's not crazy to think that not hundreds, like, if this thing goes on for a while, maybe it is crazy to think like there could be upwards of 1,000 of these in this fund, because that would send the floor price. So they're eventually going to start selling them at that 1.2x multiplier. But long story short, I am, you can play it multiple ways too. I think that's the other thing that's exciting is you could play the token, you could play the NFTs. Now you're maybe late on the NFTs already announced, but if you maybe think of it, get ahead of the next ones. I mean, I haven't looked at all. I don't know if I couldn't say it's 100% of them have had a significant run up, but Good Vibes Clubs have ripped. I still hold a goblet that I probably should sell. I haven't even looked at, maybe it's pulled back, but those things ripped up from like 0.06 to 0.25 or something. So while I had some fun this weekend, the one thing I'm kind of like genuinely excited about this week, not just show 1,000, by the way, kind of buried the lead, dropped of all weeks to fumble my intro. Go give some love on the carousel. It's pinned up top all the way to the right. If you haven't yet hit that reminder, hit them for every day this week, but especially Thursday. Can't believe I'm saying this. It's hard to even comprehend. Show 1,000 will be this Thursday. It also reminded me, Steve, that, not to complain, but once we flip over to show 1,000, it's going to add quite a bit of work to my daily routine, because now instead of having to type in 3 numbers for every Coffee with Captain show, that 4th number, it's a little bit of when you're creating those spaces and Coffee with Captain number.
You lose that character too. Not just that, like when we're trying to put titles up top, sometimes we barely squeeze it in.
I have a real estate up there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be something, but yeah, show 1,000. We're working with a few friends to potentially do some giveaways. Obviously gonna have Death.fun. We're going to do our Coffee with Captain, drawing. We're going to talk to the open page people about getting all the data so we can make sure we do the draw for the full set, the draw for those first, second, and third place who just collected a single badge. So hopefully that happens pretty soon as well. And actually, we put it up early so it's able to claim. If you go to op.xyz/claim, I believe is, let me double check. Yeah, op.xyz/claim. You can type in the number 1,000 and get a special 1,000 show badge, which we're going to be talking more about on Thursday. But for those listeners who want to claim it a little early, op.xyz /claim. Maybe we'll do something with it, maybe we won't, but for the time being, it's just a badge to claim if people want to out there. For sure. Diego is hoping for some BZ claws on Thursday. Us too. So we're talking to some friends. So we'll see what happens there. But giving away some ape, some other things. Definitely have some tentative agreements for some other people and some other friends to give some stuff away. So we'll do some giveaway stuff because it is all about the community on that day. But yeah, if you go to op.xyz/claim, type in 1,000 and get that badge today, Cap. So
last thing real quick before we get out of cold open, got 30 seconds. I pinned it in the chat, but I got to share. Got to pat myself on the back for a near miss, because not only I didn't do it myself on the way to the game, I said, hey, here's the deal. You got to help me pick a player prop parlay for the day. And it's got to be a big enough long shot to where if we hit, it pays for the tickets. I almost turned her into a degenerate gambler, because we did this one here was the one that would have paid for the tickets. So the 8 picks, we hit 7 of 8, and then I copied it and did a few more with some slight variations. Almost hit on all of them. We went 6 of 7, 7 of 8, 6 of 8. And 5 out of 6. I did this one on the flex, so I actually did return the entry there. But yeah, this was we were very close to turning like $40 into a couple $1,000. And if it wasn't for AJ Brown getting nerfed by the Bucks D, we would have ran pure on her first. And she said she had fun, so she enjoyed she's like, help me look at the game a different way. And I was like, yeah, that's it's the same. And because like we're there rooting for the Bucks, and then she looks at me like, wait, we wanted him to catch that right after AJ Brown had a pass spotted down. I'm like, it's okay. Like you enjoy the game. Don't become too much of a degenerate like me. But it was maybe my first time in life, like seeing someone else who's not in this, we bet on players, not teams. And to see the internal conflict of wanting your bet to hit, so she's like, so he can catch like a 60-yard pass as long as he doesn't score a touchdown. We're rooting for that. I'm like, it was. So anyways, long story short, almost ran pure on the parlays yesterday, but still had a good day in the DFS and best ball street. So we'll take it and move on. But turning $30-$40 into a few grand on day one in the trenches would have been one for the ages.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say also on your on that discussion point. I mean, your lady friend and her decision to be a little bougier with seats. It's funny, like I in general, it's funny because you make the bougie jokes, obviously, but it's funny, like I'm very I have a weird sliding scale. I'm very unbougie in a lot of stuff, but when it comes to, like I've said, plane tickets, flying, like that experience, a little bougie there, a lot of bougie there. And then when it comes to sporting events, I'm the same way. Like I will, for the right college football game, probably jump up to like the high deck because it's fun to be jumping around up there with student section type thing. But yeah, I mean, when I've gone to Ohio State games, like I've discovered the club seats that I like down there, and I'm going to keep going with them because, easier bathroom to access. If it's cold, there's heat. If it's warm, there's heat, there's cool, there's quicker and easier food. It's a more friendly environment. And the other thing that comes into the play that's a little bit different, and I will do this anyway, like I used to, T-Bone, I used to try to wait until the very last minute to buy off what used to be Flash Seats, the place where you used to be able to buy NBA tickets. And we would get tickets in like the lower bowl when LeBron was playing for the Cavs back in the day. We'd all right, last minute, zip it up from Columbus, Ohio, where we were living and at the time, and go to Cleveland, jump to a game, spend the night at my parents' house, sleep in the basement, and get a hungover breakfast the next day. So I think I have always kind of liked that aspect, but like even with kids, especially like with my daughter, like I don't need her around like a bunch of drunken like 19-year-olds who've barely understand what drinking a beer is. Like would rather have her in the club section, in a seat, chilling, not on bleachers. So, as she gets into it. So I'm sure it'll change over time. But yeah, going to a game, there is a difference in experience if you are way up in the top of the end zone on one end versus like in the middle in a club section. So,
even more so, like I think more so than the view or the people around you, it's just the weather. Like you want to be comfortable, and granted, some games it's no big deal, but if you're in 100-degree weather in Florida or you're in 10-degree weather in the Midwest in December, like you're there for the experience. Spend a little extra and get the controlled climate, or at least the ability to go in and out. Because even like we didn't stay in the club the whole time, but like just to go in and get a burst of AC, and get like that refreshing, it just does wonders. And also, last bit of alpha on if you ever do go to Raymond James, whether it's for Bucks game or something else, there's clubs on each side. There's a club section on the visitor side. There's a club section on the home side. You want to sit in the club section on the Bucks side, even if you're rooting for the visiting team, because it's not as bad as Miami. But it was funny. Like peak of the day yesterday, the other side of the stadium was almost not even half full, despite it being an entertaining game. Just everyone was hanging out in the AC because it was so hot, and the sun beats down on the visitor side. And after the first quarter or 2 o'clock on the home side, we're all in the shade. So little insight there. I think it's called the Hyundai Club. But yeah, just remember to sit on the west side of the stadium if you're ever at Raymond James.
It's good alpha. That's the opposite of that in Cleveland, where there's one side of the stadium you want to sit on when the Browns play. Well, you want to sit on the visitor side anyway because that's the side that wins. But like you want to sit on I believe you want to sit on the visitor side because it is not facing the lake, which means you don't get blasted by. Like I'm not kidding. Like when I Brown season tickets, you go from one side where we had ours to the other, and it feels like it's like a 20-degree difference when the lake's blasting you. So careful out there. But yeah, a couple things, like I said, like, retweet, comment on the room. We can pick some. We'll pick, I think, one person to start. We'll play the game. Obviously we'll go from one of the comment sections. We'll kind of put them around, but we're going to do the Death.fun drawing today, or Death.fun game today, and we'll explain how that works. But pretty proud of the little graphic I put together. So I'll kind of show that real quick, and then we can jump into it. But for people who are looking for it, we'll put this out later today. But effectively, $3,000 prize pool. 2,000 of that's going to come in the drawings over the next couple of weeks, 3 to 4 to 5 weeks, 3 to 4 or 5 weeks, whatever, until we run out of the ETH in there. Loaded some ETH in. There's going to be a grand prize. I will post a referral link, but basically the way it will work, and we'll have plenty of time. I'm going to post one of those posts today where you can actually click on this graphic and go through the referral link. But if you spend at least $20 on Death.fun, so that's like one run of like 0.0005 or something like that. Basically, if you spend one run and you spend at least $20, you are entered to win that $1,000. So we'll get you going on that. They love the referral link. So once I get that ref link going, I will ask that people click through that. So no need to go over there today. We will get you that tomorrow, but going to be the opportunity for one ref link person who spends a little bit of money to win that $1,000. And then throughout, we're going to have a lot of people playing each day starting today. And maybe I'll put that ref link in the comments so people have it right off the rip.
You just reminded me. Different ref link, but I'll drop it up top. I just did this morning. Kind of a PSA. It's just easy. It's like probably becomes nothing, but there is a DeFi.app right now is doing, if you do a single swap, so like I just sent over 0.01 ETH, $40, and did a swap, and that unlocks an extra $1,000 in their home token. Now it's kind of like Sportsbook where it pays out, or you earn it as you do more volume and stuff. So in time, so it's not $1,000 of magical internet money right in your right in your wallet, but it does, if you're looking for another perp deck, or you're just looking for another potential airdrop, that is that's there for the taking. I think it's open for another 48 or 72 hours or something, but again, very little expectations, and what very well token could be zero by the time you unlock it all, but low lift, low effort to get the potential to get that $1,000.
Yeah, for sure. Always worth looking at and picking that money up when it's on the ground. I did put that ref link up top, by the way. So if you're in the space or you haven't seen the space, I will try to actually put it in the abstract chat as well if people want to copy it off there. And then YouTube, you'll have to figure it out, I suppose. But I put my ref link. It's like, use that ref link, go to that ref link, spend at least $20 playing Death.fun is the number we landed on, which is not a lot. And by the way, you can win. If you can literally run, spend the $20, click twice, cash out, win. Obviously, we want you to play more than once, but this is one of those situations where, when you're doing the sponsor thing, like they're hoping to get more people over checking out the platform. So the biggest favor you can do us is click on that ref link. I'll share it in the war room as well for those on there. And then click on that ref link, go play at least $20 worth of games, and then boom, you will find yourself entered to potentially win $1,000. So that's simple. I pinned it to the top. I put it in the abstract chat. You go there, and again, you can play one game, a 0.01 ETH or whatever it is game, and then 0.001 ETH game I think would get you there actually. So I think if you go 0.001 ETH, you get you there, and then you'll play one game, and that game will get you entered and help us out a bunch. So do us a favor, check that out, and we'll get that going. But Cap, I don't know. I've got a good vibes club. I want to get your take on this. So you mentioned floor NFTs. I traded around some Moonbird mythics on the floor to help get my box. I'm about 62% of the way through the Cobalt box, which is the second highest one that's revealed so far. I'm not going to get to the final box, I don't think, ultimately. I got my hand caught in the cookie jar, though, because I finally have it listed way above floor where I'm probably not going to get my money back. I was basically buying a Moonbird mythic. They're at like 0.29. And then I would list it at a neutral or slight profit. And then when that one sold, I would buy another one and do it over again. And this happened until they ran up to like 0.355. They kind of found some resistance and went back. Good Vibes Club had the run up on that. And I did a little Good Vibes Club trading as well. Did well there. What do you think happens on Wednesday with the Good Vibe Club's sort of strategy token that comes out? Because I do think that I have one listed for 0.62. The current floor is around a half an ETH. Am I crazy in thinking delist because it may go above that when they start buying, or do you think at some point it's going to hit a halt? Like, what point do you think it? What do you think it does the Good Vibes Club floor?
Well, so I mean, I'll just tell you what I did. I had 2 listed for above floor. One was listed about, I think, I want to say 0.55, and the other was 0.69, or it might have been 0.6. Anyways, it irrelevant the actual price, but I had them both listed for. I think I manually DA'd them once. I moved them down slightly once to where I think they were settled, like one at 0.55, the other at 0.69. I first unlisted the one at 0.55 last week when they started talking about the strategy. The other one then was at 0.69, so maybe a little higher than what you have yours listed at, and I delisted it over the weekend as well. So yeah, I got 2. They're both unlisted because yeah, I think there's a good chance these things run up. I think 1 ETH is in range. Yeah,
I might delist that 0.62 one. Although I also am like one of those, like trying to do one of those, like, look, don't be don't be too I don't know. Don't be too cute with it, where it's like, yeah, it might run up or it might not run up, but taking a
Also, it may not be Wednesday per se, and they did have some other stuff. There's been a few exploits. Doesn't seem to be anything like they haven't been able to resolve and quickly, stop the whatever was going on. But because per Zane here might have everything delayed a few days due to the recent exploit, so probably not Wednesday anymore for GVC.
Yeah, so we'll see. So maybe I chill on that. I don't know, because what I'm debating is what I'm trying to do as I'm doing my OpenSea farming, by the way, is I'm trying to make sure that I minimize the amount of fees that I'm giving over, minimize the losses. I'm not just like farming it like blur farming. I'm trying to be, like I said, like with the mythics, I would like buy, list above or at neutral. So that kind of moves me up a couple percent without me worrying about losing money. What I'm trying to figure out is that should I weak the mythic now at a slight loss, buy another Good Vibes Club and chill for the next 2 to 3 days and see if that thing shoots up, because that could be an opportunity to offset losses or even make money. I've seen Gorilla and TMA actually making money doing this farm, getting ahead of it. I've been doing some swap fees on there and other things, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I will. We'll see. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll rotate into a Good Vibes Club and see what happens there. I'm a little bit more of a trader as I work on these boxes and try to see if I can make that work out for me. But as always, and 1 million pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Sweet saying, hey, maybe I'll buy another Good Vibes Club and I'll ladder list them. And if I make money that I'm happy with, I make money that I'm happy with. But again, give us a couple actions this morning. Give us a like or retweet, a comment in the room. I'll have the Death.fun announcement later today, but in the abstract chat and pinned up top, if you click on that ref link and you play at least one game, kind of a $20 game. Again, for you, if you're not familiar with Death.fun, we'll do it here in a bit probably after daily market update, but we'll do it here in a bit. But if you play Death.fun and you spend at least $20, you will be entered from that ref link to win that $1,000 prize that we're getting alongside them. So nice little chunk of change just for doing it. And the cool part about Death.fun is that, again, if you don't get unlucky, you put the $20, you spend a round or two, and you cash it and you call it, and you're good to go there. But Cap, I have a few things on my list this morning. Do we want a daily market update first, or how do you want to go?
We can do that. Your call. Take it whichever way you like.
Let's daily market update.
The daily market update straight to your brain. Powered by ApeCoin, no hype, just gains. Moving on 8chain, we bringing the heat. NFTs, trends alpha, never miss a beat. 8chain on top, now we bringing the flex. The home of NFTs, figures now what's next. Come on, my head top, but you want the time to chop off for one time.
It is time for the daily market update powered by ApeCoin, the home of NFTs, the home of Project Raid, which is absolutely crushing it over on Hyperliquid. I'll pin a video to the top in a minute about how you can be over on Project X earning those fees in the LPs. Rhymed unintentionally. ApeChain has it all, bringing culture, fun, and community to the blockchain. Dive in and see why ApeChain is on top. Cap, we got green markets.
It's a good day. I came back from vacation and it looks a lot better than when I was
You're never allowed to go on vacation again. Ever. You didn't take a vacation all year. It was pretty much up only. And then you go on vacation and it wasn't fun. It was almost like when, it's like a movie when, like Home Alone or something when it's like, I wish my parents would disappear. Not that I wish you would disappear, but like that thing where it's like, people are like, oh, what could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? And then you go away for a week. And I'm like, my thought of what could go wrong is I can't figure out the soundboard or I have trouble getting co-hosts. No, the markets ate shit. So no, you are not allowed to go on vacation anymore for that reason, Cap. So you are glued to that chair.
Well, we're back, and markets seemingly are back as well. Bitcoin up 3% to 112.102. ETH up over 4,100 again, up 3% on the day. XRP 286, it's up 3%, heading to $3 once again. Solana up over 200 at 207, up 4% on the day. Doge up 2% to 23 cents. Cardano close to being back into their peg, just rapidly approaching 80 cents, up 4% on the day. Even runes are green today, Steve. Other memes, we got Sheeb up 1%, Pepe up 1%. Meme Core remains flat. Pump, the big winner on the day, and Meme Land up 11%. Pingu up 3%. And our favorite over there, ApeCoin is 52 cents, down slightly on the day, looking for a pump here. I'll get that coffee with Captain Pump here shortly. Heading up to NFTs, there was a major mover over the weekend, as you already alluded. I mentioned that Goblin Town, it did pump. It's pulled back 10% on the day now. 0.23 is the floor there. I don't know why art blocks are showing like this, but looks like some decent volume there. Milady's actually down 6.83% to 1.8. Kaido Genesis up 3% on individuals position themselves for not just the limitless TGE, but more. I think expectations of future airdrops in that ecosystem, and thinking the NFT holders might be the winners there. Doodle's up 2.9% to 0.89. Proud to say I had the highest Space Doodle sale in the past month. GG to Crocs and myself. Moonbird Mythics up 7% to 0.35. Lil's down 2% to 1.16. Apes flat at 9.13. Big Pudgy's flat at 10.23, and Moonbird's up 1% to 3.09. The big one, I don't know why it's not listed here. I thought they pull from Hyperliquid. Spell it. There we go. Hypurr. This is not the right one. Let me go pull up the correct collection. I'll be back, because that is the talk of the town over the weekend. Hypurr, the NFT associated with Hyperliquid. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe someone could. I think the farmers had a choice. They could choose whether they wanted just the NFT, or they wanted airdrop allocation, or they wanted both. Well, long story short, these NFTs have ran up 1,400. Hype is the floor. 1,405 to be exact. Do the math on that. It's a big number. $50,000-$60,000. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I believe that's where it's at. 50. So as I understand it, and I'm not super deep in this ecosystem. I mean, I like I play around on Hyper EVM, but I don't use the Hyperliquid app itself because I don't perp. But as I understand it, yes, early on you had the choice between token, NFT, or both. Those people who click both, and I believe we're in the top 5,000, received one of these for free. And look, I'm trying to wrap my head around this, because I think people think it's going to be a money printer is what they're thinking. They have said, I believe, there's no utility, or at least I've not heard of any utility. So this is pure speculation these things are running up to. And on one hand, you could say, like, look, sense of identity, excitement around that. Nope, Diablito, we did not get the Hypurs. We are not in the top 5,000. We weren't early. In fact, some people I know who were early and spent a lot of money still didn't get it. One of those situations, it's almost like Ethos all over again to some people. My Ethos one, where I didn't get that Ethos drop, and I was close, but no cigar. And all I needed to do was participate, and that would have been the nice airdrop there. But yeah, it is we are looking at $50,000-$60,000 floor for Hypurr NFTs.
$65,000. Basically flipped everything but pumped. GG.
Yeah. And look, I don't think it's gonna. I think this is a dangerous friggin' game, man. Like, I love speculation and all that good stuff. I think people are hoping that either A, these are included in some new in like another airdrop officially, or B, unofficially, people will program against them, which I get it. If you're in the top 5,000 for Hyperliquid, you are definitely playing around quite a bit, and so you are in a good spot there.
No, and all of them also have made a ton of money over there. They've already had major airdrops. I don't think there's distributions wide. I don't, I'm sure maybe some, but most of them aren't. Even though it's $65,000, most of them aren't running to the exits. They're a lot of those in the top 5,000s, true whales and or individuals who might have already printed 6 figures off the Hyperliquid airdrop. So, I also think there's another airdrop coming. So, out of my range, I'm not making any $65,000 NFT purchases by any means, but
yeah, I mean, it is a bold. I mean, look, if you're going to pay 6 figures for any NFT, it's pretty bold. But if you're paying 6 figures for a rare one of these, I do think there is it's one of those things where it's like, when you buy an NFT, you just got to buy out the expectations of what you were told. You're told there's no utility. You're told there's nothing coming here. So just be aware of that. If you're playing around these streets, me personally, I get nervous when there's an immediate fire up in price like that. So just be aware. I think people are speculating against them. Maybe it will pay off. Like, this is one of those ones where it might be like, it was so obvious for $50,000, you got $300,000 worth of value. And it might be one of those where it was so obvious you paid $50,000 and they said there was no utility whatsoever for it. But who knows? Maybe like Project X will be like, we're doubling our airdrop for people who hold those. And maybe there will be an alignment within the ecosystem. Maybe pressure.
I think that's I do believe there's going to be another Hyperliquid airdrop. I think those individuals that are holding this will get rewarded. But I think the real where they realize the major upside, not just, because let's say they buy one for 65 grand and they get a $50,000 airdrop. The NFT likely will pull back at that point. Still could be profitable, but I think the big win or the major upside play would be added allocation or multipliers for a lot of third-party airdrops like Project X and others.
That's the
system's hot, right? It is not crazy to say these could be the Bored Apes of this cycle as it relates to all the other third parties wanting to get those individuals in their ecosystem and reward them with stimmies.
Yeah, I saw TMA jumped up, NFT guy, far more extraordinaire, TMA, GM. What are you thinking about this?
Hey, good morning. I hope you guys can hear me fine because I'm actually in my car right now, so I hope I'm not muffled. But thank you for having me. Good morning. I think, like, honestly, there's a lot of speculation, as you said, around this. They also reset their point system right around the time when they actually airdrop these. So a lot of people are speculating that these might be part of potentially Hype Season 2. And previously, the ecosystem was dropping a lot of like meme coins, tokens to collections like Hypurr, which was the primary collection before this. So I really wouldn't be surprised if there's other meme coins or other projects that start reporting the official NFT collection for Hype, especially when they know that the floor is so high. So they know automatically they're getting more higher quality holders right off the bat. Like, so I would assume that this would potentially be like a key to the Hype ecosystem for you to get multipliers, for you to potentially farm Season 2. Like, there's no guarantee of how that's going to play out, whether that gives you a multiplier, whether that actually gives you a straight up airdrop. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's just random meme coin communities that just start airdropping a certain percentage of their supply over to these NFTs. I was stupid, quite honestly. I was sitting down and I was literally hitting buy at 900 Hype to buy 2 of these. And then I pussied out because I was like, fuck, this is like over 100 grand I'm spending. And in hindsight, I should have done it because I would have been up like 50K right now. But there's a lot of people that made like crazy amounts of money, right? 2 of these sold for 10,000 Hype each, which is like $500,000 almost. And I don't remember the last time we saw sales like that, like right off the rip at a new collection, right?
Yeah, actually, first of all, great call. And second of all, you actually inadvertently teed me up for our More You Know, brought to you by ENS. So I'm going to do that before I go over to Ian here, because what you just said there, we haven't seen a lot of NFT collections do that. We're going to go ahead and talk about that.
The More You Know, brought to you by ENS.
It's time for the More You Know, brought to you by ENS. Teed up nicely by TMA here, saying we haven't seen a lot of NFT collections do this, but right after mint, sometimes we do see these NFTs take incredibly explosive runs. Take Moonbirds, which I have some token speculation this week. We'll see if it happens. Minted at 2.5 ETH in April 2022, and within a week, floor ripped to over 30 ETH. It was the belle of the ball at the time. Azuki minted around 1 ETH in January 2022 and ran past 10 ETH almost immediately. Doodles launched at 1.123 ETH in late 2021, climbed to 5 to 7 ETH within days, and then Yuga's Other Deeds land sale, of course, 305 ape, or roughly 2 ETH. Immediately after, we're trading at 7 to 8 ETH. And if you want a big blast from the past, Invisible Friends starting at 0.25 ETH jumped to over 10 ETH on secondary. These early surges show how hype, community, energy, and FOMO can send floors soaring, sometimes creating overnight wins, but also reminding us how volatile NFTs are. And oftentimes what comes up must go down. That was the More You Know, brought to you by ENS. ENS does more than you know, not just anchoring your name across Web3, but anchoring across the internet. It's your identity, simple, memorable, and unmistakably yours. Security, interoperability, and ease of use. Go to ens.domains to secure your ENS domain today. Yeah, definitely see quite a bit of movement in these guys, and so it's just something to pay attention to as the day goes on. Ian, I don't know if you want to add anything about these NFTs. I know that you were a little bit more familiar as well, but yeah, it feels like a lot of speculation that these are going to be going to be a money printer from people.
Yeah, I think this is a little bit misunderstood. I don't believe it's going to be a money printer directly from Hyperliquid themselves. I think every single Hyper EVM project will make this a money printer for themselves. I think this is going to be a game changer for the big whales. So I think the name of the game is going to be fees, and fees. If Hyperliquid is supposed to take over the SEX market, the CEX, and the DEX market, and become your now go-to spot and trading platform, fees are the enemy. Fees are death. If you've ever traded on Coinbase, Robinhood, anything like that, fees take up a bunch of your stuff, and exponentially on the whale status. So with in my opinion, with these hypers, it's going to be fee free. So you're going to be able to make multi-million-dollar trades on Hyperliquid with zero fees on the front and back end. And that will make millions of dollars in just fee saving, in my opinion. So I think that's the name of the game. If you just have $50,000 and you can barely afford one, and you just buy one thinking that you're going to get 30 grand in hype from Hyperliquid, I doubt it. I think maybe Project X and all those other guys are going to definitely give you an allocation. But I think the name of the game is going to be the free fees.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
And thank you for having me up, by the way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, it's going to be interesting, but I think that's the gamble is like, to your point, like it could be very good, but you're banking on, I mean, similar to how people are saying, oh, I don't like this OpenSea, farm because it's eating my airdrop. Like for me personally, I have been on Project X for a couple of months now. I hit top 700 in the most recent update. I'm going to be a little bit sad if a lot of that gets nerfed, if it's not a special bucket that gets hit over from people who have Hypurr NFTs because they were early to Hyperliquid. It's like, oh man, so I use this protocol. I got myself top 700, but really I'm placing top 1,200 because the 500 people that cut me in line have these NFTs, or 5,000 people, I should say, 5,700. So not saying that's the case, but like if 5,000 people get something who have never used the platform, or maybe have barely used the platform.
I don't think it'll be the case. I don't think it'll be never use the platform. I think it'll be more of a multiplier. And I'm on the other side of this. I'm for it, and I don't hold this NFT. I just would love to see the space get back to this. I think it's good for the space. It's like, to flip that, it's like, think about the people who were grinding Steppen back in the day, and then us for Bored Ape holders get dropped a pair of shoes that we flipped for 3 ETH. Like, because we are holding assets that we're in a community and we're a group of users that they wanted to attract in their ecosystem. I think the best personal preference for airdrops and rewards, it's a combination of all these things. It's a combination of what assets do you hold, what are you doing? What actions are you doing on chain? What volume are you moving? How early are you? I think all the above. Are you talking about it on InfoFi? I think rewarding all is better than, oh, you're only getting this airdrop if you spam the timeline and talk about it because it's an InfoFi campaign. I've said many times, and I meant it, I do believe that the ape chain, the ApeCoin raid on Solana and Hyperliquid, and we're going to talk multi-chain a little bit with Espresso. I think it's the best ran InfoFi campaign to date. And I don't even think it's particularly close because they're incorporating so many different elements of not just assets you hold in their ecosystem, but what you're talking about, how you're talking about it. We give credit to Spencer for kicking off the proof of ownership with their campaign. I think it'll be, and this is the key asset for, this is the, I guess, the premium asset, the OG asset for, as far as NFT goes, for Hyperliquid, for Hyper EVM, for Hyperliquid. And yeah, I think it's those, I want to see those get, just another example where I don't hold the Hypurr, but I would love to see this become so successful that when Mega ETH goes live, they follow a similar playbook for their fluffles, which we do hold, right? I think that my opinion, it shouldn't just be holding the assets, but I do think third parties should get back to rewarding holders of key assets. And part of it goes both ways, right? Part of it's the team of those assets to be reaching out and doing biz dev and building those relationships, those partnerships. But it also can just happen organically by others recognize, okay, this has the motion, this has the attention, this cycle. Let's reward those holders, and with knowing they're not going to pull 100% of them into their ecosystem as high users, but odds are a few of them stick around. Like it's let's get back to more thoughtful airdrops that are actual campaign driven and bringing in more people versus, I think we went, first of all, it felt like it was just very close. Like you had to hold this one asset. Then it got very broad and wide. The peak of that was probably the Pingu airdrop, where it's like, if you ever breathed on Solana, you could claim Pingu. That was too wide, led to a bunch of dumpers. I think a much more thoughtful, intentful, we're going to reward people beyond our ecosystem, but it's not going to be just a spray and pray and reward everyone.
Yeah, see, what I would like to see, I'm kind of with you on that one, and not like, and again, I'm not like, I get salty if it like moves me back 5,000 spots in something, which I don't think is going to be the case. What I would like to see from teams is similar to what you just said, thoughtful distribution of who makes sense to get in your ecosystem or reward. So to your point, if they say we're giving whatever percentage of the airdrop, I'm making it up, we're giving, 30% of the airdrop to our community, and then we decided to take another 2%, and that 2% is going to go to those 5,000 people. I don't even like it as a multiplier in something like this. I like the multiplier in the Ape Chain raid campaign because that makes sense to me. It's InfoFi plus. Or I like the multiplier in the Turtle campaign they're doing on Katana, which is like, InfoFi is a bonus. What I would like with an NFT like this is that they already have their allocation. These NFTs get dropped, and they said, you know what? We had a percentage that was going to our foundation. We're going to take 1% of that, and that's going to go to those 5,000 NFT holders. And then you make those people nice and well. They eat well. They potentially want to play in your ecosystem, and you do that. I think that is a clever way to go about it. So I agree with that. Speaking of clever airdrops, by the way, and two things, by the way. Again, if you go to op.xyz/claim, you're going to get type in code 1000. You can get the 1000th badge ahead of our Thursday show. Cap, did you see the Meteora drop mechanism and how they're dropping?
I don't fully understand it. Maybe explain it to us. I saw it. I played around a little bit over there, but not very deep, and new twist on it for sure, huh?
Yeah, so as I understand it, and again, this might be hard to understand, and as again, I always give the hey, heads up, I'm new-ish to DeFi in the past couple of months, so who knows? But I will say, to me, like, this is a really interesting idea. So if you open a liquidity pool, you'll notice a lot of times you get an NFT associated with that liquidity pool to, represent your position, and then you cash it out and it's empty, right? They're going to be issuing NFTs as part of their airdrop. Their MET token is going to be loaded into those NFTs. Now, at any time, you can burn the NFT and claim your MET, or it's automatically creates a position with liquidity for the MET token, meaning that NFT will generate fees that go into it based on you owning that NFT. Creates a liquidity position. You don't have to claim the fees. The fees automatically go into the NFT, as I understand it, right? Now, that does mean if the MET token moons, at some point you'll be fully in USDC on that, and you can just take your cash and go. But it basically creates a liquidity position off the rip for people to have. So it sort of has this like new alignment of like, hey man, like for me, you play this game where it's like, I don't know that I want to cash out my MET token right off the bat because, and I'm not going to have much anyway, because the people who are doing like Trump coin and stuff made like thousands upon thousands in fees. So they're going to be just eating on this. I'm not going to get a huge one. But the idea that I have this loaded in, I can just be like, all right, I'm going to set this. And as the MET token gets up, I'm DCing money into cash. And at some point I can cash that out. I don't know. It just depends on what your sort of like feeling about the token is in general. So, and the whole time, if there's going to be trading volume, which there will be early on, your NFT automatically increases in value because you have the MET token representing the position. I think it's fun. I think it's creative. I like it. I think it's a creative idea to have this sort of like, I think tokens locked in NFTs is such an interesting concept that has the potential to like create this game where it's like you can sell the NFT based on the value of the tokens on the inside. You can burn the NFT and cash the tokens, or you can let it run for a while. So I think it's a cool concept, but I wasn't sure if you saw that one. So initial thoughts on it. I mean, it's creative to me for a liquidity pool provider to do it this way.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's even more so than this specific. I'm excited we're seeing new stuff again. We're seeing different mechanics, new innovation, and that's exciting. Like, it just feels, I'm getting the sense that like the experimentation on chain vibes are coming back, from the whole strategy thing to this Meteora TGE. Like this is good time for things to heat up as we really hopefully Q4 is up only season.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. I love that thought process of like, it's more experimentation on chain, which is what got us excited in 2021. Then a lot of people copy pasted Bored Apes for a while in NFTs, and you would occasionally see something creative. I think we're seeing a lot of creativity right now, and I think there's something to that. I might even have a tweet to fire off about that because it's pretty interesting, and I think it's a really astute point. That said, let's do this. Or we'll go to TMA here in a second, but actually let's go to TMA first, and then we'll go to the top on a couple of things. TMA, get in here.
Yeah, I was just gonna agree with you guys. I think a lot of people aren't paying attention to NFTs anymore, but there's just so much exciting stuff happening. There's NFTs on the DeFi side, like you said, with Meteora, with Hype happening. There's NFT token strategies happening, all of which are actually above a 1 million market cap. I think there's a lot of catalysts coming up, and there's a lot of like teams just delivering. NFTs seem to be picking up. I feel like we're getting to a point where things are starting to heat up. The ecosystem looks healthy again. There's a lot more liquidity in NFTs as opposed to a year ago. People are starting to feel more comfortable holding them. I feel like people will still get burnt a lot with speculation. Token drops. A lot of people did get burnt over the last month, 2 months, because we've had NFT collections like, for example, Shrimpers, where there was speculation for a token drop, yet that was extremely disappointing. So we'll naturally have one or two of those, but generally speaking, we're seeing a lot of positive sentiment around NFTs, and we just have so many new catalysts coming in. Like if you think about Moonbird's token, if you think about all of these token strategies going out for more lower market cap collections, like we were talking about GVC Goblin Town earlier, I feel like these token strategies will actually work out much better for these low cap collections, because if you're collecting the same amount of fees that Chromie Squiggle token strategy collected, like technically you could have bought almost 250 GVCs with that amount of money, right? Like, so just being able to buy back so much in volume if your token's performing so well is just kind of bullish and just opens the door for more liquidity into the NFT space. So
yeah, I agree. I think it's like one of those things, and that's one of the reasons why, like, I know, like, teammate, we've talked a little bit about the OpenSea farm and stuff. We tell people, like, look, like, we are taking a calculated risk here, and we know that as we're doing this. Like, I'm like a little over halfway through Topaz. I've got to, get my way up. And I honestly think those last two chests, I got to look at the math on it, because I know there's been math done on it. I think those last two chests might be like more than the first 8 combined or something. So there's a lot of speculation with this stuff. So it's like, I always tell people are like, oh, you're farming OpenSea. Watch out what's going to happen with those. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen with the boxes, but I fully know my risk going in. And I'm setting a strategy and I'm trying to do my best to make some money on NFTs as I rip on the way up, and understanding that there is risk associated with all of this. Like, money goes up, money goes down. It's part of the game we're playing for sure. Cap, we have about 5 minutes until our special guest comes on, most likely, at some point here. Why don't we do this? Let's go ahead and do a Death.fun. We're going to do Death.fun here. I'm going to actually, I know I pinned it to the top once. I'm actually going to, it's one over. I'm going to repin it to the top just to make sure everybody can see it. And I'll undo my first pin on there. There is a ref link up top. If you use that ref link, and I'll have a tweet about it today, but if you use that ref link and you spend $20 playing a game, which again, you could go on there, you could play a game, you could play a couple of rounds. You'll see what Death.fun looks like if you haven't used it on Death.fun. You are entered to win $1,000 on there. It's just entered to win by spending $1,000 using that ref link. So highly recommend going on there. Cap, let's do this. We're going to pick somebody. So if you're in the abstract chat, you're in the YouTube chat, we'll start with those chats. We are going to go, I think, mostly on Spaces chat for a lot of these, but it'll kind of help us with that. If you are in one of these chats, does anybody want to play for this Death.fun? So what we will do is we will do a 0.01 spin for you. So I've got to remember what the what is 0.01 ETH right now. The math is not mathing. It's like $40. So we're going to do a $40 roll for you. You are going to have the opportunity to then take that $40. We will play, say, 2 to 3 of them for one person. And you know what? I'm going to do it for Pinstripe Gator right off the bat, because Pinstripe Gator, I think, did not end up getting one of those 108 distros. So Pinstripe Gator, this is for you. So we are going to go ahead and play Death.fun. You are going to, and we'll do somebody every day. You're going to get, let's say, 3 chances. So you can see I played here. I cashed all the way up to 6.65. Okay. We're going to play at least 4 rounds. So we're going to have to at least go to the round of 4. And then Gator, I'm going to see, we're going to decide if we want to get funky with it in the round of 3 or not. But Pinstripe Gator, we're going to play through this. So if you're not familiar with Death.fun, I will start in a second, but you will click tiles. One of them will be green, or most of them will be green. One of them will be red with this little skull guy on it. If we click on the skull guy, you lose your ETH. That's the end of it. However, you can cash out at any time at that multiplier with the opportunity. So Pinstripe Gator has given me the go-ahead. So what I'm going to do is I think we're going to do 3 runs for Pinstripe Gator here. And Cap, we're going to decide if we want to keep going or not after the 4 to see if Pinstripe Gator wins that money. And then however much he wins off of the 0.01, we will look at that in the ETH and we will deliver it to him at the end. But we're going to try to at least get him to cash something going in. So we're going to roll this thing. Going to prep this game. Going to get it started for Pinstripe Gator. Cap, I'm going to roll on the first one. Then I'm going to have you tell me which one to do on the second one. Then we'll maybe tag team the third one. Ready?
Perfect.
All right, Gator, here we go. Click 1. We're safe. should I just go right side? I'm just going to go right side. Should I just go right side? I'm going to go right side. All right. So if I click this one and it is green, Pinstripe Gator, we could cash you or we can keep going. So here's the question. Pinstripe Gator has just earned $80 off his $40. I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy to make sure I have exactly how much you earned on this. And I'm going to go ahead and cash this one for you just off the bat to make sure we get that. So we're going to have you DM me a abstract global wallet address to send you this ETH. I've got your money, and we're going to cash that right out right now. Cap, you're going to run number 2. So I just got him going. So we're going to go at least 4 rounds on each of these. We'll probably have some people live on the show actually do it so they can actually do their own choices. But we'll let this payout process, and we'll do 2 more as well. So, Cap, I'm going to restart us here. You're going to tell me which one to go as I go. So where do you want me to start?
Flip it. Let's go left. All the way to left. Yep. Maybe they don't reset. It's just it was exact same as last time.
Cap's got us something. No, was it? Yeah. We'll go ahead. We're gonna start it one more time. All right. We're gonna tag team this one. I'm gonna go first. You're gonna go second. We got to go at least 4. All right. I'm gonna go middle. Wow. Well, look. Pinstripe Gator, we did donate a little bit of money into the Death Fund pockets this morning, but guess what? You did win 0.0222 ETH. So Pinstripe Gator, send me a message with your we're gonna get a good one on here at some point. We are at one point gonna run it up. I ran it up to 6. Like somebody's gonna want to run this thing up and gamble all the way to the top. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna have some people live on the show who are gonna do some death funds. But Pinstripe Gator, send me a message. We'll get you that 0.02 ETH and get you going on there. And maybe you could put it, like I said, use that ref link, go right back in the ecosystem, and you have the chance to win. You're free rolling with the chance to win $1,000, which is pretty cool. So hit that ref link, Pinstripe Gator, and spend a little bit on there, and you can potentially win that $1,000 right back. So let's do this. We are going to talk on the other end of this. We'll definitely have more discussion about the Hypurr NFTs and all the things that are cooking this morning, but we've got some Ape Chain to talk about once again. So excited to have this conversation this morning. Big announcement this morning from Ape Chain and Espresso on Coffee with Captain, which I love to hear. Jill GM, you're gonna want to plug a plug a headset into the phone. I bet you that's where we're getting that echo from. We're gonna figure this thing out. GM Jill, it happens to the best of them. I like that you did follow these space instructions. Most people who come on here do not follow the spaces instructions though. So an instruction follower. But yeah, usually plugging a headset, like a wired set of headphones or something into the phone will get it so it doesn't have that echo going on. GM, let's give it a try. How are you doing this morning?
Let me go grab those. I'll be right back, and then I'll be with you. But you can cue me up with an intro in the meantime. How about that?
Excellent. All right. So Jill's going to go ahead and grab a headset to ensure that we do not have a little bit of echo going on. But excited to have Jill on this morning from Espresso. Announcement this morning. If you missed it, I know we pinned it to the top. Again, I could repin it over to the front, but Ape Chain's now live on Espresso's decaf testnet. Always love a good testnet on here to play around with. Fast finality and cross-chain composability coming soon to the entertainment capital of Web3 and home of ApeCoin. Jill's joining us this morning to talk a little bit more about what's going on with Ape Chain. Ape Chain being live on Espresso again, a scalability solution, kind of cross-chain. Excited to talk a little bit more about that as she gets a headset. And if not, can always jump down from the stage and just kind of do the listener thing to make sure we don't have the echo. But Cap, as we get Jill coming in here, Ape Chain's been cooking lately. Have been very excited about it. I did actually pin to the top as well, which we'll talk about in a little bit. If you scroll over, I do have a video on how to get yourself going on Project X. That was our announcement last week. Seems like it's announcement after announcement after announcement. So Jill, let's see how we're doing this morning. The AirPods are in. Any luck with the AirPods, or are they connect to the phone? Let's see.
How's this? Testing.
Actually sounds fantastically clear. Before we get into Espresso, before we get into Ape Chain, thanks for joining us this morning, bright and early. Give us a little background on yourself. We always like to get to know our guests a little bit, sort of where they're coming from, what their backgrounds are. So give us a little background on yourself and how you ended up in this wacky world.
Yeah, wacky world is right.
And just let me know if the echo comes back, but I think that we should be dialed now.
I think echo is back. You just need to mute on your phone, and I think we would come through on the. But if you come, mute on your phone.
Okay, cool.
Perfect.
We are so back. All right, I have been in this crazy space for the last 10 years, believe it or not. I sometimes ask myself what I'm still doing here, but I'm a buyer. I am a deep believer. I got into crypto after working on Wall Street for several years. I got Bitcoin pilled along the way, and fell down the rabbit hole and never looked back. I have mostly been in the space as a builder, as someone who has been working on the various L1s that have been launched along the way, the various DeFi projects. I will admit, I was an NFT skeptic back in the NFT heydays. So I feel like this is a big moment for me to be coming around on that. It was very apparent to me that I'd missed the NFT hype cycle when that happened, and I have deep regrets about that for obvious reasons. But for the last several years, I've been focused on building a company called Espresso. And what we do is we support interop, specifically starting with L2s on Ethereum. We've got a lot of integrations cooking in the Arbitrum ecosystem specifically. So really excited to get ApeChain live on us. And to become a part of the ApeChain ecosystem. I think it's honestly one of the most vibrant, active ecosystems, certainly in the NFT space, but I would go so far as to say within Ethereum in general. And so it's a huge moment for us to be able to support more cross-chain interop for ApeChain. And I'm sure we'll get into and can talk about more of what that looks like. And I'm happy to share why I think that this is genuinely like the most important problem for us to be solving in Ethereum and in crypto in general. So yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. This is great.
Well, I'm all sorts of excited to talk about that in particular. I am I was once called by Brett from Mega ETH he's like Steve like me, a nerd who loves this stuff to a fault. And it sounds like we are in the same. Welcome to the NFT world, by the way. We have Scones.
Yes.
It's lovely here, and a bunch of people who LARP as animals on the internet all day long. But I love that you're over here now, and I love what you're talking about. I actually want to dive right into that because I have some other questions, some other things, but I want to talk into that problem because that problem you're trying to solve, you talk about it being such a significant one within the Ethereum ecosystem. Talk about the problem that you are solving specifically.
Yeah, so basically within the Ethereum ecosystem, we found this really amazing way to scale usage, and that is through L2s, rollups. And ApeChain is a great example of this. One of the first ways that I started following NFTs, this was back during the CryptoKitties era, if we have any OGs who are around during that time. I think this is going back to like 2017, 2018. The scaling problem of blockchains in general and Ethereum specifically really came to the forefront when the CryptoKitties boom happened. It was this moment of total hype and craze around minting these kitten NFTs. And it was a very cool concept, right? It was the first kind of pioneering of being able to like combine two NFTs to like mint them together and get the traits of each of them. And then there would be rarity associated with those traits. And everyone was really excited to go in and do this. It felt like a really cool combination of not just like NFTs for NFT's sake and for the speculation, but really like a gaming component, a randomness component. So again, it was this moment in time where everyone was really stoked about this. And it basically, it didn't literally bring down the Ethereum network. Like it was still up and running. Like Ethereum has had no downtime. That's a huge point of pride, obviously, for the ecosystem. But it effectively crashed the usability of the Ethereum network because there was so much congestion. People were having to pay like hundreds and hundreds of dollars in gas fees to mint these CryptoKitties, which, of course, in many cases were like much less in terms of actual value than the fee price that you were paying in gas. And it just was not usable. And I think that that was actually like the watershed moment where everyone agreed, okay, this is not going to work. We need to explore other routes of scaling. And that's when L2s started to really become a thing in the Ethereum ecosystem. Now, that's all well and good. But the problem is now L2s have created all of this fragmentation. It's a huge pain to bridge between them. If you are able to bridge between them, you're dealing with low liquidity on both sides in some cases. You're dealing with high fees, or you're dealing with issues of security that aren't even maybe sort of visible to you as the end user. And so these are the things that Espresso has set out to solve, is to really make all of these different chains, starting again with L2s on Ethereum, feel like one chain again. So whether you are an end user trying to do, arbitrage between the chains, trying to trade, we're going to be working on a cross-chain minting experience that we're hoping to go live here in the next few months with ApeChain, the home of NFTs. And that's, again, something that you haven't really been able to do to date. I may not be an NFT girly, but I do know enough to know that if you mint an NFT, that NFT is probably just living on that chain. You're probably not really moving that around. You're probably not bothering to bridge it back to the L1 and then bridge it up to some other L2. Like there's a whole process there. And we're looking to break down those walls and barriers so that any L2, any chain that's integrated with Espresso, again, it'll feel like one chain that you're working on, which is, I think, going to be a huge unlock. It's almost going to feel like the OG Ethereum, right? Where like all of these apps, this whole ecosystem, and importantly, all of this liquidity was just one system.
Yeah, well, you're not an NFT girly yet. Let's not say things we can't take back. But the fact of the matter is, I think this is a real problem that you're solving, which is, I think like we talk about what crypto looks like when it's not just our corner of the internet of like us, we're all goblins in our basement gambling. That's just how we go about it, right? And we love it. We're here for it. That's part of the fun of it. But it also, like, when you think about like the consumer experience, I think about the idea of what's going to happen when we have state issue stable coins, like what Wyoming's doing. And you have all these different like things where there's going to be so many different opportunities to use coins and cash that are just built on an interoperable layer with each other, and making sure that those things talk to each other. And Ethereum, we're Ethereum people on this show as well. We're ETH guys. It's just how we roll.
I love it.
Talk about what that looks like practically for an end user. So give me like an example, like, by the way, Crypto Kitty's great throwback trip down memory lane when you think about those and what those were. But talk about what it looks like now, like at the end user, if it's me or it's a friend and they're trying to sort of, use sort of two separate sort of things interoperably on a network. Explain what that looks like practically in use, like an example for
Yeah, totally. So the example that we're working on actively, this cross-chain NFT mint that I mentioned, the whole idea is you might have funds on one chain, you might have funds on Arbitrum L1, you might have funds on, like a payments-oriented chain, like Cello is in the works of integrating with Espresso, which we're super excited about. And to your point of broadening the horizons, like you want people who have funds on different chains, who are in different ecosystems, who are maybe more mainstream users of crypto, have come into the space through different paths, to be able to use things on Ape Chain seamlessly, right? Or to be able to use things on other chains. So if I have funds, let's say on Cello, let's say I've gotten into the space through payments and I own a bunch of, stable coins on Cello, I want to be able to then seamlessly, without having to go through this whole bridging process, mint an NFT on Ape Chain. With Espresso's integration, I can do that without having to move funds over. So I don't have to go through this whole process of like going into my Rabby wallet and pressing bridge and then getting routed to another UI where it's like a cross. And then I'm like, if I'm new to the space, maybe I don't even know what this bridge is. And that's a very scary thing because I've been warned like these things about bridge hacks that happen sometimes in crypto. And then I'm having to sign, which is, again, like kind of a scary user experience. So then I'm signing to bridge my funds over. And then, oh, shoot, I don't have enough of the gas token. So I've got to get the gas token to actually bridge the funds. Now I've got dust left on this first chain, but I've minted over and, oh, shit, now I've missed the mint. Like, I've had this experience many times. Mostly, I will say, again, like in DeFi land, but I have plenty of friends who've missed mints in the NFT space, because they're just stuck in this process of like, they weren't organized, they didn't have it together, and they didn't have their funds on the right chain. We think that this should never be an issue. And as you say, like, especially as you think about new people coming into the space, okay, we should all know better, right? Like we've all been in this space a long time. Like I said, I've been in this space a decade and I'm still doing this. But definitely you can't expect new users to be able to navigate between like, oh shit, I have funds on this chain. I needed it on this chain to do this other thing. I thought that this was like all Ethereum or all USDC or whatever. They're not going to understand that. So this is the type of experience that we want to give people, is not having to bridge funds anymore and being able to just, again, mint from whatever chain you already have funds on. And I think that that's a really exciting vision of what the future of Ethereum should look like. And I also think it's one of the most acute problems for us to get solved. So yeah, that's what I've been focused on. That's what we're building. And that's, again, why we're so excited to have Ape Chain in the space with us.
Yeah, it's funny. You basically just described my wallet that's filled with dust because I just don't have enough to bridge stuff around, and I'm just sitting here. I'm like, the amount of money that like a regular person's like, I just flipped a something or other, or I just sold a something or other and made like $7. I'm like, I got $7. I just can't get off a chain because of the
Literally.
you know
Yes. Yeah.
sitting there. So it's funny. The problem that you are solving is a very real one. And it almost creates a future where it's like you don't necessarily have to. You could have your money on the chain that you or in the token that you want to be holding without having to say like, well, that's it. I got to bridge over some, like someone might say, I really like having, ape coin, but I got to move it over to, ETH mainnet for this thing. And it's like, oh man, now I'm missing out on the thing that I really wanted to hold. So
totally,
it's moving a very real problem. Talk about ApeChain specifically. You kind of touched on it at the beginning, but you said, look, like it's a pretty vibrant community in crypto, in ETH. Talk about that. I'm sure you're going to get a ton of love on the announcement because it is this interesting thing where you almost have this like NFT community sort of like, it's like rooting for a sports team vibe for this
totally.
chain, for this token. So talk a little bit about that partnership in particular and actually how it all came to be and how you decided to work with them. Just, I know they're in the ARB world, but talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, one of the great joys of the seat that I get to sit in is we get to work with all of these different L2 teams. So I'm working with DeFi teams, I'm working with payments teams, I'm working with gaming chains. And then, there's you guys and the NFT world. And I have to say, I know I introduced myself as someone who was not deep in the NFT world, but I have been totally pilled through the process of getting to work with you guys in the ApeChain space. I think that, again, you guys bring so much amazing energy, so much vibrancy, and just have like a real community feeling to it. I think that it goes back to obviously like the Bored Ape roots here, and just so many people in this community having been around for so long and having been through so much together, like really forged in a fire together, and just so many shared experiences. You don't get that in a lot of communities where, they're either just more kind of like token based, like bootstrapped by the token, and like, okay, kind of like the mutual bag holders have come together over time. Like that's all good and fine, but there is really something special about the ApeChain community. So we started at Espresso, we started with a very close partnership with Off-Chain Labs, who were the initial lead developers of Arbitrum. And this was going back like 2 years ago, right, when we were first getting started on this cross-chain product. And we got to know them really well. And I love those guys. I don't know if your audience will be familiar with the team behind Off-Chain Labs and Arbitrum, but they are a bunch of big nerds. And I love that about them. Like they are a bunch of like Princeton academics. Like you could not get sort of more highbrow academic blockchain than these guys. But they also understand what crypto is about, like who the crypto communities are. And they have embraced everything. Obviously, it's Arbitrum, from like the most degen DeFi applications to obviously like, crypto NFT communities, and just the whole range of, as you said, like all of us. I put myself more in the basement dweller category, if you really know me. But, all of us like basement dwelling goblins have been totally embraced by this like nerdy group of, again, like Princeton academics. They're amazing for that. And so I remember talking to them in the early days of us getting Espresso off the ground and saying like, all right, like who are the teams we should talk to, as we think about making inroads in the Arbitrum ecosystem and embracing some of the communities that you guys support with your stack of technology. And one of the first names that they brought up, maybe the first name, was, oh, you got to get to know the ApeChain people. And, again, it kind of almost surprised me. I didn't know them that well at this point. And I was like, I love that, again, these huge nerds are like immediately like, oh yeah, we love ApeChain. Because it just felt like a little bit dissonant to me, like a little bit unexpected. But as I've gotten to know them better and as I've gotten to know your community better, it makes total sense to me. And I see a lot of that DNA actually in the ape chain community where, okay, on the surface, you're all a bunch of apes, but underneath, like there's a lot of rigor there and a lot of real thoughtfulness, and obviously real thoughtfulness about the tech you're building the stack on and all of this. And then on the Arbitrum off-chain lab side, there's a lot of like real, degen OG crypto, including NFT energy, which I love.
It's funny you say that, and actually just on a note of even just what it's like working in this space. I'm curious if you have the same experience as me, because I feel like what you just described in a nutshell is like, I've never met a world where I could talk to a 16-year-old from Europe or South Africa who is trading and giving me technical analysis, but also a Harvard Business School. My co-author on my book is a Harvard Business School professor. And it's like,
I love it.
The juxtaposition of like the people you meet at anything. I've never met a world where it's like, it's so scoped across different people who all have the same common interests. And it's also weird in the sense that we all have this weird thing in common that, all of us are in this small percentage of people who exist in this world who sort of have these conversations, but they can be intellectual, they can be silly. It's like literally, making a 69 joke with a Harvard professor. Like, it's bizarre that you have that. And it's like that combination. You feel that energy in this world, right? It's the same thing.
I love it. That is one of the things that has kept me coming back to this world. Again, I have seen a lot of shit, like a lot of people in your community have, I know. I have had my moments, like during FTX, that was a real low point, honestly. I was like looking around being like, another one bites the dust. Like, this space is just full of fraudsters. It's easy to get really down, but the thing that keeps me coming back is that exact dynamic that you just described, where you are literally having the privilege of just being in this space, of having conversations, again, with like brilliant teenagers on the one hand who, yeah, exactly, I love that, like are, maybe based in South Africa or Southeast Asia, and like brilliant traders, like making and losing more money in a day than I could have even dreamt of at that stage of my life. And then also meeting with like policymakers who, are wearing suits and in these like esteemed offices around the world, but who can also like hang with the rest of them, and keep up with the banter and the inside jokes. And they're on crypto Twitter. They're just under an anonymous account, right? Like maybe they're even tuned in here right now. And I think that is something really special. When I think about working in TradFi, which is what I did before I hard pivoted into crypto, like this is exactly what I dreamed of. Do you know how boring it was sitting on a TradFi trading desk and like you're there in your little suit and you're talking to other people in their little suits, and like, okay, there's like a bit of banter on a trading desk, but not, there's just not the like diversity of character and diversity of thought. And I do think by and large, like the bad actors in crypto, like the fools and the frauds, they tend to get a lot of the headlines. But by and large, the vast, vast, vast majority of people I interact with in the space are super thoughtful, super smart, like really on their shit, really care about it, got in for all kinds of, whether it's like ideological reasons, like something in this resonated with them. Maybe they were a creator, and they wanted a way to monetize. And like, okay, we all get sucked into our various holes of degeneracy along the way, but that's part of the fun, right? And, you'd be lying to yourself if you said like, oh, that's not just a part of the journey. But yeah, I love it for that reason. I think that you're spot on, Steve.
I definitely have had my fair share of like, should have done that moments as you get into it. And it's like, you mentioned that there's so many different pockets of experts here as far as like, I DeFi is something, for example, I've only really been deeper in like liquidity pools and things for the past like couple of months. Like I understood the fundamentals of them, but I didn't dive in. And it was like, I just got to the point where I'm like, it's embarrassingly, that embarrassingly bad that I haven't learned this yet. So I just dove in and spent basically like 2 days locked up learning everything I can. And now I'm like over, every vault, every liquidity pool, every.
I love it.
But the best part about it is like things like this, where whether we're talking about sort of settlement layers, whether we're talking about DeFi, whether we're talking about NFTs, meme coins, you name it, there is a spot where it's like you can just say almost like you're going to an amusement park and you can just pick what ride you want to get on that day. And maybe you get on the teacups because you're just trying to get a little bit of yield and stake, or maybe you're trying to get on the loop-de-loop and you're trying to play some meme coins, but everything in between. So I love the perspective there you brought as well. Off the beaten path question, but I got to ask, is it positive, negative, or neutral that you have Espresso and Sabrina Carpenter has a massive song called Espresso? Because that's really all I think about when I hear Espresso now. It's hard. Do you like it? Are you like, shit, is it like an Office Space situation where it's like, fuck him, my name was Michael Bolton first?
Oh my God.
It?
Okay, I have to confess, confessional moment. I freaking hate that song. I do not enjoy it when it comes on the radio. God forbid it comes on my playlist when I'm on a run or something. I'm like frantically like hitting next. I cannot listen to it. And I think that part of that is because of the name overlap, but it has been a great source of memes. So, anytime I need a little, this is what Espresso does moment on crypto Twitter or whatever it is, like Sabrina Carpenter is my girl and she's got me with some kind of GIF or meme or whatever. There's also quite a few good lines in that song. So, might give a fucks are on vacation. That's a good one to give to the haters who, maybe are expressing some skepticism around Espresso or are mad about, something that, like the way that the NFT whitelist that we did went down. Like we had a few people angry about that. So, might give a fucks are on vacation. Very good response line. Thank you, Sabrina. But the song itself, I cannot. Again, this is the first time I've admitted this publicly. I think a lot of people now associate me with that song if they know me on crypto Twitter. But yeah, I cannot bear to listen to it. I've got to hit next.
Breaking news. I like that. We broke some news here this morning. Jill,
Yeah.
Not a fan of Sabrina Carpenter. She's it is funny how that works with that association. Along those same lines, I'd actually love to get your perspective on being a builder in the space, because I was having a conversation with another person over the weekend who has, done quite a bit of building in this space, but has those moments where it's like, man, sometimes you're on top of the world and it's the best thing ever. And sometimes it's the worst thing ever because crypto people can be brutal. There is the other side of that coin. I think just even operating the space sometimes, Cap and I just have a mental illness just being here. But it's like,
sure.
What is that experience like being on the front lines? Like you talk about doing an NFT mint, you talk about the things you're building, you talk about trying to make timelines. Like people sometimes don't realize how hard it is to actually build in new tech where even the regulations are nebulous.
Yeah, totally.
Give a perspective on where it is for being in your seat.
Oh, it's unhinged. You have to be crazy to build in this space because it's like all the risk of doing a startup, which is already super risky. Like if you're just building some software startup or some new social app or whatever, like you're already a little unhinged to go out and be a founder. But if you are doing that in crypto, you've just got so many more dynamics to contend with of like, you don't know who your actual users are because your thing is being farmed to high hell. You don't know like what the regulations are going to do next. Maybe it all hinges on like the next election. Obviously, being based in the US, there's been a huge shift, right, between a year ago and today in terms of just the overall environment and sort of the modes of operating. And again, a lot of that's been regulatory and like, other industries do not have to contend with that. I almost forget now that other industries don't have to deal with that stuff. I feel like it's just become so part and parcel of like my life and so normal. I think what it comes down to is you have to love the volatility. Like, you talked about the amusement park and going on the loop-de-loop. Like that is crypto. You have to just love the roller coaster ride of building in this space. And yeah, at some points you're going to be on top of the world. And at some points you're going to be like, this is never going to work and everybody hates me. I think that's one really hard thing is you have to be so online. like, even just to drive awareness of your product and drive users to it, like you have to be so online. You have to have such a big presence on crypto Twitter specifically. And boy, yeah, the tides will come in and out on you, in terms of sentiment. And you see this even with the biggest, most successful projects. Like they fly a little too close to the sun, and then, crypto Twitter turns against them, and it can be hard to come back from that. And then, you have like these revival stories where projects do make a big comeback. But yeah, it is just absolutely wild. But as I say, I am definitely someone who loves the volatility and has embraced the roller coaster ride. But it is an unhinged thing to do. Yeah, if you care about your mental health and sanity, do not start a company in this space. Log off, go touch grass.
It's like being terminally online can suck enough. Being terminally online while also just getting hammered by anonymous crypto users on the internet. It's just but on the other hand, sometimes they're carrying you all around on their shoulders, and you feel like you're on top of the world. So it's this
you just can't let the highs get too high or the lows get too low. Like you've got to just roll with the punches and just remember that, the people who are using you as a punching bag on any given day, like probably they're just mad that they've missed out on something. And this is the thing, like as soon as there's like a token involved or like, an NFT mint involved, like it's not personal, right? Like if they're, shitting on the project, it's not personal. It's like, it's economically rational, right? Like as so many things in crypto are. And so you just have to remember that as someone who's building in this space. But it's hard for me though, because I am definitely a people pleaser. Like I am someone who's like, I just want to be friends. Like, let's just hang out and be friends. I just want everyone to be happy here. And, that's just in a world of scarcity, right? Like, that's just not going to be possible for 100% of people all the time. So I don't know. I was tuned in earlier. I appreciated the conversation you guys were having about airdrops in general and the right kind of approaches and criteria. I am so glad that there's been so much work done on it because, I mean, even a few months ago, it felt like projects were being farmed in a way that we're like actually starting to move away from. And, we're actually starting to get to a place where projects are more able to focus on like who's actually going to matter here as a stakeholder, who does it really make a difference to get tokens in the hands of? Because, yeah, it's important to remember as a project, like, people will always complain and want your token, but they might also be the people who are just going to like insta dump at launch. So, yeah, I don't know, just all things that you have to think about when you're on my side of the table. And it definitely ain't easy.
Yeah, it is hard because again, part of the conversation I was having this weekend was the idea that people sell an NFT, for example, with the promises of certain utility. And then people speculate on it and it goes up in price. And then someone says, well, I paid $50,000 for that. Therefore, I need $50,000 in value. It's like, well, the project didn't get $50,000 if royalties were even paid. They got a small percentage. And like, you can't just be expected to deliver on that. All you can do is do what you promised and hope for the best and hope that people understand that. And I just think it makes for a tough scenario to your point of delivering like what, and every value is different to every person. So figuring out that balance is a challenge that I appreciate that you're embracing. With that said, like I know we're kind of at the 9:30 spot. I'm curious. So if people are excited about this, they see this, they go, okay, I'm excited. I like the idea. I like interoperability and making things just work better. It's what the blockchain is built to do very, very well. So you're taking on this challenge. If people who are maybe either NFT heads or people who are just playing around in the ApeCoin ecosystem want to participate in some way, shape, or form, what should they do? Should they wait for this cross-chain mint? Like, what is the plan for them as ApeChain goes live on the testnet?
Yeah, absolutely. So the big thing is going to be the cross-chain mint. Like I said, that should be ready in the next couple of months. But I would say beyond that, just start learning what Espresso is, play around with some of the other chains that are integrated and the experiences that you can get between those chains already. So we've got a few DeFi chains on board. Rary Chain is on board, another friend of ours in the NFT space. So go and check all of that out. We did have an OG NFT mint on Rary about 5 months ago, which was super fun. And those NFTs are going to figure in again, kind of thematically into the cross-chain mint that we're cooking up with you guys. So excited to keep pulling on that thread. Again, one of the great joys of being at Espresso is I get to work with all of these different projects in the space and see all of their different communities and very genuinely bring those communities together. So that's what we're excited about. But yeah, check us out, follow us on Twitter, and stay abreast of the updates. We're definitely going to have a lot of opportunities to get involved. You know, we are an infra project, so we're not like a direct end user consumer facing project in general. But again, we've got some exciting things in terms of the cross-chain mint and more that we're cooking up. So yeah, stay tuned for those updates.
Love it. Well, look, appreciate you joining us this morning. Appreciate you chatting us through, and always good to meet another person who, another people pleaser in the space who is doing their best just to make it through and survive this wacky world. So thanks for joining us this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for having me. Big fan.
Right on. Thank you so much. Cap, good discussion. I mean, honestly, like always love when we get a good builder on in the space, and she was a treat. She definitely gets the same sort of vibe that we go through here, which is something we deal with on a very, very regular basis. I mean, even on our end, it's like we do giveaways, we give away money, we give away things, and sometimes we get a little shit for it. So it's just, it's part of the space and it's part of being in here. But I was thinking about it the other day. I wouldn't have it any other way. You once described it as like someone asked what you do for a living and you said you were retired. I'm like, we're not retired. We're doing work. But I mean, comparatively, I was having this moment where I was looking at like some of my old coworkers posting pictures and stuff. And I'm like, man, that's considered normal. And I don't want to be in the office, food truck day is like the biggest exciting day of the week. And it's like we talk about stuff we love for a living. Then we get to work with like projects and brands that we truly enjoy and advise them and help them out and, play for these gambling games for airdrops. And I don't know. I wouldn't have it in the perfect dichotomy. I was going to say to Joe, the perfect dichotomy of crypto. So we have 8Fest in a month. We're going to be in Las Vegas for 8Fest. Got a message. Hester Pierce is going to be in town. And I had the opportunity to potentially like meet or have a chat with Hester Pierce. And I'm going to be in Vegas for 8Fest because of it. I'm like, of course these things cross over. I considered even changing my flight because Hester Pierce sounds like that would be awesome. But like, unfortunately, I think it's the day of 8Fest. But it's a perfect Hester Pierce, one end, conversation I would be having. 8Fest, other end, a bunch of people in Vegas just being completely degenerate. It's a hilarious dichotomy. I am a walking juxtaposition just living in this space.
Wild times to be alive for sure. And yeah, it's just, I really feel like we've hit this convergence where, yes, those of us that have been here for a while, like we were very early to the tech. Tech wasn't easy. It wasn't straightforward. The UI wasn't intuitive. Every time we talk about bridging, and like I flash back to the horror of attempting to bridge from mainnet to Polygon and then back in like 2021. And a week later, after sweating it, I got my ETH, and like that's gone. Like that doesn't, I mean, it does exist, but it doesn't exist anymore. Like it's not necessary. Like these tools, the underlying infrastructure for this space is like, we're there, man. Like we are at a point today where does it take connecting some dots behind the scenes? Yes, you got to work with the right partners, the right teams like Espresso, but it's absolutely very real today to build a easy to use Web 2-esque interface that's just going to do all the things. And your average user, your quote unquote normie, they're not going to have to learn how to bridge. They're not going to have to worry about what chain their assets are on. Like it's just, we've got to the point where most of the tech can be obfuscated from the end user and it just works. And they don't need to know. It's just like, we don't think about the Swift banking system when we go to send funds, we go to wire funds or transfer. It just works. Like we don't, when I send someone some money on Venmo, I don't think or care about what's happening behind the scenes. It's just, I click a button and it goes there. It's like, we finally made it to that point And back to the talk about like NFTs and getting to a point of innovation again. I maybe I'm wrong, but I think that this combination of like where we're at in the cycle, where the tech is at, normies aren't like onboarding into crypto in mass, but we're like one killer dApp away from that happening. And unlike 2021, where there was a rush of people into the space, they had to spend 10 hours learning how to download and install a MetaMask wallet and get funds on there. And it's like, think back to like when Gary launched VFriends and all the time, energy, and effort that went into just onboarding and training people. You don't have to do that anymore. This stuff's just going to work. And yeah, it gets really exciting because I think you talk about another wave. I think we're there. It's just a matter. And you know what? This is probably going to sound silly. And we were just chatting about it in the war room, but maybe it is perps, right? It's like it could be the next onboarding the next wave of gamblers and bettors and sports bettors and TradFi traders. It's not official, but I saw it looks like consensus. Looks like MetaMask is going to turn on perp trading in their wallet. And maybe 50x leverage isn't great for the layman, but and maybe that's a bad example. But point being is like things that when I say previously, even as recent as like 6 months ago, took a lot of thought or time where you had to jump through, you had to do 17 things before you got to where you actually wanted to get to. Like that stuff's fading very quickly, and it's largely due to teams like Espresso and all that the years they've spent building and connecting these dots. So forget like the normie who's not here, even users like us, Steve, like it's getting far easier to do new stuff and do it quickly and not have to worry about, oh shoot, I got to unstake this, I got to swap this, and I got to bridge this. And now I missed that mint because I was 30 seconds too late because my funds were on, I needed to go through a bridge and 2 chains and a swap before I could get here. Like that stuff is just, I think it becomes table stakes. Like that it is a multi-chain future. I'm convinced of it. Not saying chains aren't important. They are, but the thought of like, oh, we're if you're not on Ethereum or Solana, what are you doing? It's like, it doesn't really matter anymore. It varies by asset, by project, but it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. I definitely, and stuff like that, I think is just such important, there's just such important problems to solve, for sure. And so like, I love hearing, like, these are the real people, and I'm not just saying this because they were on the show. I'm not just saying this because it's, Ape Chain. By the way, also, I'm not a huge fan of Sabrina Carpenter. I think Sabrina Carpenter is, I don't know, people get mad. I think the music's overrated.
She's wait till you to come up. She's not that attractive. She's not ugly, but she's not like, oh my gosh, she's a smoke show. Like, it's like, I don't even know, like, please, I'm probably going to get myself in trouble. Like, I've never heard a guy say, oh, she's a hottie. Like, she's so hot. It's like all the, like, women love her because she's a proud woman. And I don't get the whole thing. Her music's not great. She had way too fast to come up. She's got to be a Fed plant.
So I'll give you the Sabrina Carpenter because I hate that I have so much information here, but Sabrina Carpenter, the net on Sabrina Carpenter is she was on a show named Girl Meets World, which is the Boy Meets World remake on Disney, where the parents were the Corey and Topanga parents, and she was the rebel friend of the daughter. So she had a pretty big, like, sort of like, that was her like real role where I feel like a lot of people got to know her initially. As one of the friends on there. I don't remember what her name was on there, but she was definitely like the rebel friend. Like, she was the Sean Hunter of the show if you watch Boy Meets World, right? The troubled friend of the next door neighbor type thing.
Sure, but like I just googled it. Like, the average viewership in their final season 3 was 1.8 million viewers.
Well, but it's the Disney machine was my point. So it was the Disney machine where she could sing, she could dance, and she was on a show. Like, a lot of people, like, people weren't watching Mickey Mouse Club when Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Ryan Gosling, and all them came out of there. It just so happened, JC Chazé, like all those people who were in there. But so that's where she kind of got her start. And then she opened for Taylor Swift during her Eras tour, I believe. And that was where anybody showed up. And if you open for Taylor Swift during your Eras tour, it's like, I don't know. It's like having, what was like a god, like.
Well, sure. But if you were the Feds and you wanted to plant a new female artist, where would you plant them? Where better to plant them than opening for Taylor Swift? Like, that's the quickest route. Maybe it does happen organically, but I don't get it. She's not that attractive. She's not that talented. She's talented. It's just, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. For her to have the come up that she's like, it'd be one thing for her to just become, but she's like one of the biggest stars of this year. And it's like math ain't mathin'.
I don't think the music is that good. It's very candy, cotton candy poppy. And that's, but again, I think it's just a matter of like, she came out of the Disney farm system, which is an incredibly successful farm system. I mean, you can go on and go through, probably like Jake Paul was the Disney farm system, right? Like Bizarrevark or whatever he was on initially. So it's like,
I didn't know that. I just did it.
But yeah, so Jake Paul was like Disney farm system.
I thought he started his, I thought it was all on the YouTube, but yeah, I didn't realize.
Like you can go down the line and find, like, it's basically like the Disney farm system has a whole machine that works with it. So she came out of there and she's one of the bigger ones to come out of there. And like I said, like, to me, it's like, I think it's just the simple explanation is Disney farm system, has a thing, and she opened for Taylor Swift, and Swifties will line up 100,000 people outside of a stadium to hear Taylor Swift. So it's like it's just a matter of like, if you can, it's sort of like what we talk about sometimes, if you can capture a small percentage of a certain audience, if you can capture a small percentage of the Taylor Swift audience, you will find yourself, pretty successful. And I think that's where she landed as well. Another thing I want to hit on before, I know we got about 15 minutes left, a couple more things I want to cover. Cap, I put out the speculation this morning. I pinned it to the top before. Do you think we're getting a Burb token announcement this week?
Yeah, sure it's happening.
You think that so for people who missed it, Burb Hala is happening at Token 2049. Spencer had quote tweeted this and said, "This is the #1 don't miss event at Token 2049. It's called Burb Hala. It's co-sponsored or sponsored by Solana." If there's not an announcement, we hit this last week, but like right now, Moonbirds are running hot. They are they're crushing it. Like, they're obviously doing very well. I feel like I kind of said this last week, but I think it's worth bringing back up. You had the mystery box of you're buying an I don't know what that releases. I don't know when. At some point, the speculation flywheel is going to catch up with our friends over at Moonbirds and Orange Cap Games, who I love. But I feel like if this isn't a token announcement, it's got to come pretty soon because they have the Kaido leaderboard. People are all jacked up about it. You want to keep that momentum going. I don't know. I feel like if this doesn't happen, we might start seeing some capitulation, some sales. Like, I think we're going to hit that point at some point with Moonbirds. I love them. I love they keep executing the soulbound tokens, all the things they're doing. The partnerships are great. I'm not saying I'm trying to like force.
Why do you think that? Just because it's run up so much already? Why? Because like, yeah, at some point, I don't know. I don't think it necessarily ends before TGE. So the next question, follow up, or to give you a few, and then I'm going to do a quick stream drop here. But why? When do you think TGE is? Do you think we still see it in Q4, or is it the Q5 type, early Q1? What are your thoughts on when they actually?
Probably is Q4, whatever he was saying, Q5. I guess like when I'm looking at it, I'm looking at like, Spencer's timeline is very, very excitable right now. It's very putting in the work right now so Burbs can eat. This is a tweet yesterday. Putting in the work right now so Burbs can eat. I will win another tweet. I'll just share it on the screen so people who are watching can see what I'm looking at. But like, I think it's like a very hyped timeline. I'll zoom it in so you can read. Putting in the work so right now so Burbs can eat. I will win the TCG meta. I will win the bald founder meta, who I love. I will win the IP meta. Bullish on founders who hard shield TBH. They are coming for your Burbs, talking about people going in the Burbs. Burbs early, Burbs often. There's a lot of things on here. Burbs are looking good. I just see a lot of stuff coming from the from the team and the founder, which I love. I think you should be excited about your product. I think you should be pushing your product. I'm not trying to knock it or say it's bad. What I'm saying is that I have seen this play out a lot of times with a lot of founders where founders get very excited about their product. Don't fade me. I'm doing great. This is awesome. Burbs are going to eat. My community's going to eat. You never wait. I was talking to Adam Fern about it in a back and forth this weekend on the timeline where he kind of openly admitted, he's like, look, they used to be like, there's never been a better time to be a pirate. This is our, core, asset, yada, yada, yada. And, they have a TGE and it didn't go as well as certain people wanted. It did go well with certain other people. Like, this is before everything that happened recently with proof of play. Like, prior to that, it was like they had these people who were disappointed, upset, being very pumpish about your stuff. It's like at some point there is this sort of like time to pay the piper type thing. And I don't think it's now. And I'm not saying I feel this. Like, I like Spencer. It's more just this like warning of like, if it's like we're gonna eat, and then the token doesn't do well, or if it's gonna eat, we're gonna eat, and we don't get a token announcement until December. If it's like these things eventually come where it's like by the time we get a 5th soulbound token drop before an announcement drop, if that happens, people are going to be like, cool, another soulbound token. When's it happening? Like, that's my point, if that makes sense. Is like, I'm not saying he's there. I'm saying eventually you hype up to the point where it's like there needs to be that next thing that comes with it. And it feels like there's a lot of hype coming in right now.
Yeah, but I guess I agree. But I'd also rather have my founder or leader of a brand I'm invested in talking, building in public, hyping shit up than just disappearing for months or not giving any updates. Like, I'm not gonna go down that path. I'm very frustrated with some brands that I support, I hold assets on, and I feel like it's been a year or more since I've had any sort of tangible update, and sometimes like give me something to look forward to. Like, that's what he's doing, and so like I'm okay with now. Does it put the pressure on to deliver? Absolutely. And yeah, if it's met with, like, at some point, you can't just keep hyping up an announcement or go mint this thing because maybe something will happen in the future. You do have to ship something. But it's like, I mean, how long ago did he buy Moonbirds? It's not been that long. So I still think it's very much so early in the cycle. And I don't know what I would rather having. I don't know what I would have him change. Like, I don't know. I don't think I agree with you. It could go too far. I don't think it's went too far yet. And that's why I think we're getting the announcement this week. Now, it's not going to be TGE. I think it's if they go and it's not TGE announcement, or like, this is what we're doing, and it's just another, everyone at Korean Blockchain Week, minute you get another soulbound token, that's going to lead to some frustrations will come out. Speaking of, there was if you hold a Moonberg or a Mythic, shout out to Tebow who called our attention to it. If you're holding either of those, go check the Moonbirds Discord. There is another soulbound token claim for Korean Blockchain Week. You don't have to be there. You just have to hold one of those assets. You can go claim it. Probably nothing comes of it. But again, just like I said earlier, anytime there's something free to do on chain for something that you're already vested in or already paying attention to, go click the button. It's just not financial advice. It probably is worth zero. But again, it's putting one more NFT in a wallet, costs you nothing. Or actually, it does cost something. It's like 0.0001 ETH or something like that. So
but it's like well, I mean, if nothing else, it's proof that you were here at the time, right? It's like there's something to be said about it. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't want to like this come across as like FUD, or I'm saying, it's my point being, like, we've had this happen with the abstract team. We talked about it last week. We've talked about it. I won't like revisit or relitigate that whole story, but like part of what we saw as feedback about the abstract team is like we would hear the team constantly being like, people are going to eat. This person's going to eat. You won't believe what's coming next. The abstract August thing ended up being that big discussion. And it's like, that's where I'm saying, like, it's not there. But
like the analog here would be they go into token 2049 and he just does a pitch deck and doesn't announce anything. That would be like abstract August. And then that's going to piss some people off.
Right.
So it's not just, do you have to announce something? It's got to be pretty material because he's hyped it up so much. So I guess I'll hold the rest of my judgment until the actual announcement, see what he does. But I do believe that it's going to be, hey, we're going to do a token's coming. It's going to be Burb. We probably don't even get a date, would be my guess. It's going to be sometime in Q5 or something like that. So all that to be said, if that's all it is, when basically that is, I would say a token is assumed by 95% of those in the ecosystem that it's coming. maybe he's hyping up a little too much because it's not going to be new news. It will be new official news, but I don't know anyone that's holding a Burb or Mythic that doesn't think a token's coming. So it's therefore like the impact is going to not be that great because we already know, or we at least believe we already know it's coming.
Yeah, and that's it. It's like, and so that's where I guess I'm saying, like, again, I'm not saying he's crossed anything like that. It's just we talked about it with Abstract, and I think it's only fair as far as the standards go, where it's like you keep hearing it.
I'd push back on this a little bit. Machiavelli says the Burb token is going to be good for a very short period of time, and then if they don't do anything for attention economies, it'll die quickly, and Hype will too. I'd respectfully disagree. Spencer knows too much. You got to remember how close he is with that Pudgy Penguin team. He's obviously got relationships with Yuga and going to be doing something there and other side and on Ape Chain. Like, I'm not saying he can keep it together forever without doing something major. I don't think it's going to die a quick death. I think it'll actually surprise some people. I'm not going to say it opens up at Pingu, or there's a world where it opens and holds at north of $500 million. Like, that may sound crazy to some people. I don't think it's that crazy. I mean, it's probably somewhere between Dude and Ape, if I were to guess. But I do not think it dies a quick death. I think he's got far more motion and attention than does Dude right now.
Yeah,
and Dude, by the way, just had Binance US change their PFP to a doodle, and trading goes live on Binance US soon. I don't think it dies a quick death.
I don't think so either. I think that is I think that is probably not the case, right? I think that I do think that, like, people forget that Spencer played the Blur game well. He played, pretty much, he played the Pudgy game well as far as like his thesis on that. He has been consistently right. He had the fastest selling TCG probably game trade, like one of the fastest ever in the TCG space. And that's for a new TCG. And that's not like just NFTs. That is just from a trading card perspective. He cooked and sold out quickly. It's one of the things we saw. We see it with rec drinks and other things. It's really exciting to see what the space can do when they put their mind to it. Get a bunch of greedy degenerates in one place with something they support. They got liquid to spend. And so I think, like, there is something to be said about, like, his ability to execute. And I do believe in him as a leader. I do believe in what they're doing with the Burb token. And to your point, like, that's it. It's like, it's more so, if it's months of build up and it's just the announcement, even if at 2049, if it's just like, token's coming, it's like, okay, like, when, how, what? Like, I'm hoping to get some details and some real good reasoning, some keynotes, some things that'll really give some clarity as to what this thing is. Again, it's not fuddying. It's not saying it's bad. It's I think that he's as good of a leader as you're going to get in this space. It's just, I don't know. Like, I had someone tell me at one point prior to the whole collapse that happened with Solana and Hayden Davis and all that stuff, when Thread Guy was like the biggest KOL talking about meme coins with Frank D guys every day, I had someone DM me and be like, I feel like Thread Guy is getting a little too drunk on Thread Guy. And, like, it is a danger in this space, and I've seen it with others. I'm not going to call it names. G-Funk got a little drunk on G-Funk, right? And then G-Funk got a little drunk on, perps and I think some gambling. But, like, it's like, people get a little drunk on themselves sometimes in this space when things are going well and they're the toast of the town. Just be aware that there's a middle, like we just having this conversation just now. Like, it was like, don't get too high, don't get too low. Like, it's that discussion that you have, right? About, like, whether you want to get too high, too low, kind of in between, that sort of thing. I like that, like, it was kind of Jill's point of being a founder. It's like, I think, or a builder, I think it's important to have that conversation of, like, just be careful. Like, you play with fire if you don't deliver, which I think he will. I think he has so far, but just got to be careful how hard you hype and pump your community. We've seen this happen a lot, and so we'll see. Anyway, but I think announcement potentially this Thursday. I'm not sure how I'm playing it. I did just eat a little bit of a loss on a Mythic because I mentioned I traded making money on Mythics all weekend, and then I got a little too cute. The last one I bought was sort of the top, and so that it was way deep. So I kind of floored it and took a little bit of a loss on there. Not too bad. Worth the OpenSea points that I've earned from my money based on what I got, but still not what I'm trying to do there. I may get a Mythic in advance. I don't know. I think at some point we will see some run-ups in Mythics and Oddities potentially going into that, if there is an announcement on Thursday. But on the other hand, the risk reward there is if he doesn't announce anything on Thursday, I think there's a dump. So I think not like a big dump, but I think we'll see the floor price drop a little bit because some people are expecting and thinking about that. So again, we'll have to see what happens there. That said, Cap, I saw Craig came up. Craig, I don't know if you want to get in here on any of these topics, but I saw that you jumped up. So feel free to jump in here if you want to, GM.
GM, good morning to you and Captain. No, I just wanted to come in and just say this last week I ordered the Everything Token book. I want to tell you, I'm already halfway through. It's a fantastic read for any of those that are, we call ourselves Web3 degens, but it's really aligning itself with the newbie who's really curious about the space and what's going on. So after I'm done reading it, I'm going to give it a quick review, but I'm having a lot of fun as a content creator, creating these short clips and really recognizing amazing people in the space like you and Captain. And I always get the latest, greatest news from you guys in the morning. And so I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, appreciate it very much. I always, it never gets old. It never gets old or sort of like hearing anybody bought or read my book. Dislike, what all the things in between. Appreciate, what people have said about it. Appreciate people who have rated it well on Amazon and given us that love there. I mean, that's always great to see. And just means a lot when people check it out. By the way, Diablito kind of, I think, feels the same way I do sometimes. Did say Spencer's a better KO than CZ, but then said I unfollowed Thread Guy when he was getting drunk on himself. And again, I don't get too high, too low on these things. I like people, and I'm more of an observer of things more so than a good and bad. Something I realize is a rare quality in this space. You can find people who think pretty freely. Sometimes when you go outside of it, you don't. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, just piece of warning. That said, Cap, I know we started off Death.fun. I'm going to tweet about that later today, but if you use that ref link, like I said, use the ref link, spend $20 on there, and the $20 you spend, you could make back. You saw it this morning with what happened with, what we did for Pinstripe Gator. Get on Death.fun, use it with that ref link, chance to win $1,000 if you spend $20, which $20 to win $1,000 is a heck of an entry, depending on how it is, because who knows how many people will go. We might get 10 people. You might have a 1 in 10 shot. If you spend $20, you might get 100 people. You might have 100 shots. Still good odds on that EV, and you might make money while you're doing it. So definitely something to pay attention to if you're getting out there on the Death.fun sponsorship. I'll tweet about that later today, though, and we'll pin it to the top. I mentioned before, if you go to I'll probably mention it again tomorrow because I probably did a poor job giving it love today. But if you're trying to learn how to LP on Project X, again, I pinned to my profile a video on what an LP is, how an LP works, and how to do it on Project X, particularly with ApeCoin on Project X, on an ApeCoin hype pair. The unit plasma pairs were printing. I think, Cap, I printed insane. $35 during a 1-hour meeting with you on fees while the liquidity pool went up because both assets were raising in price at the time. So I think I told you at the end of the meeting I had made about $200 for your time. So thank you for that. Well, I put that LP to work. Again, not financial advice. Things go up, things go down, but certainly an exciting opportunity there. Cap, anything else on your mind as we work through towards the end of the show?
Let me look because I thought I thought I had one other news item or nugget I was going to hit on, but I'm not seeing an open tab, and I usually keep those up. So, we'll hit on it tomorrow, I guess. But no, just if you haven't already, go hit those reminders. The carousel's up top all the way to the right. I'll actually repin that to the left as well to make it easy to find. We'd love to have you here every day this week, but especially Thursday. We're going to have our show number 1,000, giving away nearly 10,000 ape thanks to the ApeCoin team and our friends over at Other Page. And we hear you on the BZ Cloud pools. Not put any unexpected pressure on them, but I think we can probably make that happen. It's a favorite segment, so we'll look to run back some other fun stuff on Thursday as well. And what else on we got? Obviously, Token 2049. What else on your radar this week? Is anything I'm diving into the NFT strategy stuff. Haven't made any moves there yet, but the winner of the day is Dick Strategy for those keeping score at home. Anything else that's coming up soon that's on your radar that we don't want to miss this week?
No, I mean, honestly, I'm I'm just keeping an eye on obviously NFT strategy and paying attention to what they're doing, the NFT strategies. But I'm not like, honestly, not like getting too I'm not like getting too high, too low on that and doing anything with it. But I am probably going to play the NFT side of it because, again, people play different things in different ways. No sort of secret. I've been farming around in the OpenSea streets. So, I'm trying to make sure I'm buying and selling NFTs, but I'm also trying to make money while doing it because it's impossible at my bankroll for me to get to that final box unless I mitigate some of that money. I just don't have the money to spend and dump on that just out of the blue in hopes on the box. So I am, doing token swaps on there with fees to help mitigate that a little bit. And then I've been trying to do the NFT trading. So there's a good chance I'll buy a Mythic and another Good Vibes Club going into this week and might get absolutely washed on those. So obviously we say don't follow our trades on financial advice, etc. But like the thinking is that if that Good Vibes Vibester goes live and, they sweep through the floor on those, I'll at least, let's say that I buy one now and I list it at whatever my profit would be, and even good chance it gets swept on the way up if it's in the bottom 10 of those or whatever towards the end of the week. So probably will list one of those and ladder them up. Might buy another Mythic going in just in case, like, the Burb token gets announced. Like,
I need an oddity. That's the other thing I wanted to add for similar reasons. Token gets announced. I could see, especially if there's some sort of allocation. Let's say Spencer says oddities are going to get the same token allo as Mythics. I could see a run on those.
Yeah, big catch-up trade there, potentially as well. But yeah, I think that's like a couple of like the things I'll be like looking at and playing this week. Like I might deploy a little more capital on chain and just like sit in some NFTs for the first time in a while, like for at least a few days here. And sit in again. Probably I have one Good Vibes Club that I have, decently above floor. I might buy one and list it slightly above floor, and I might buy like a Mythic and an oddity and list them slightly above floor, and then let them chill and let them just sell into the bids if they go. Like I'm not really super worried about where it nets out. It's not my like, to me, it's like I have this new mentality that I don't know how it happened to me where I'm comfortable just making money on an asset and being cool with that. And if I don't make all the money on the asset, I don't make all the money. Like I'm kind of cool with the idea of like, I go out there, I get my Good Vibes Club. If it sells for 0.62 and it runs up to an ETH, I'm okay. Making money is making money and on to the next thing. And I didn't have this mentality before, but I'm feeling better about it. So we'll see. So, yeah, so probably make basically a few moves into a few of those assets and then see where I net out. But that said, Cap, let's let everyone stay off in their day. Good stuff this morning. Like I said, we will have the announcement about Death.fun later today. Love on that will be appreciated, and we'll continue to play that. We will talk to everybody bright and early tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.